Hi all. In the previous sessions we had discussed about the different topics under organization module, that is module 2. We have discussed about the principles of organizing and the span of management in detail. Next topic we have is departmentalization, or you can say the superstructure of an organization. Superstructure of an organization is the horizontal differentiation of tasks or activities into discrete segments is called a departmentalization. So here the tasks are divided horizontally and they will be carried out. That is the meaning of departmentalization. When I say departmentalization, you can remember that departmentalization is the one of the step in organizing. Correct? And also you can understand by the name itself, the departmentalization aims at division of labor and division of the specialization to certain extent. That is, it wants to utilize the different kinds of labor or workers along with their specialization. Okay, that's about the general definition and meaning of departmentalization. So now let us understand the different types of departmentalization we can come across. The first type we can come across is process departmentalization. And the second one is purpose departmentalization. In process, we do departmentalization related to the organizational functions and you can say based on technology. In purpose departmentalization, we do departmentalization based on or related to products, related to customers, related to time, or you can say the particular season. Departmentalization related to the sales, you can say, or location, region, etc. So departmentalization can be based on the processes involved in organization or the different technologies, or it might be different purposes. At different point in time we come across different purposes in the organization. Based on the purpose also we can do. In that we have based on products we can do departmentalization. Based on different types of customers we can do departmentalization. Based on point in time, in festival seasons you come across some need for a department, so you will set up a new department for the particular season. So that is the one way. Another way is for sales, location, different regions. Based on that we do departmentalization. That comes under purpose departmentalization. Okay, so departmentalization overall what we can conclude is it is done for the labor division as well as the specialization division. Apart from that we have to satisfy the process and purposes in the organization. Okay. The next topic we have is committees. Committees are the group of people assigned with the some activities or problems which the management wants to solve or make a decision on that or to implement something. Okay. So let me write what is committees. Committees are the group of people assigned with task or you can say activity so as to take decision and or implement to solve some problem. So this is the meaning of a committee. A committee will have a group of people assigned with a task or activity of decision making or sometimes it will be decision making and implementation or sometimes only decision making to solve some arising problem. That is the work of a committee. Okay. So when we are going to form these committees? When we have a recurring problem. When we have a recurring problem, we will form a committee of a set of people and then they will look at the problem, analyze it and come up with the solution. Second one, a major problem is there. Recurring problem means it will be coming again and again. So that kind of problems, say you have the financial committees where it will be repeating every year. Financial committee will sit and distribute the finance. That is a recurring issue or problem you can say. For that there will be set of people always there. In that time we can say recurring problem is solved by so and so committee. Next, in major problem, it is not anticipated problem. Here the different departments and all the interrelated stakeholders are sit together and decide on something. So when we come across recurring problem or a major problem, we go for committees so as to resolve that problem. Okay. That is the need for committee or when we are going to use the committees. Okay. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is the Likkert's new management pattern. Likert new management pattern discusses about the replacement of traditional management system, that is hierarchical management systems where one-to-one relationship was important, that he wants to replace. Likert is a management scientist. He proposed a model which is known as Likert's new management pattern. Here he wants the replacement of one-to-one relationship, one-to-one relationship in the organization, that is from subordinates and heads of the different departments. He wants to replace it with interlocking or overlapping groups. So earlier one-to-one relation was a traditional management system or hierarchy, where he wants to replace with interlocking or overlapping groups where head and subordinates both will be involved in decision making process, or they will be a part of decision making committee. Thereby more coordination and responsibility can be exercised. That is the view of Likert. So he has come up with the interlocking or overlapping groups where both the head of the particular department and subordinates will be there in the committee and take the decisions required. That is the idea of Likert's new management pattern. We will understand it better when we go through the Likert's linking pin diagram. Okay, let me draw the diagram. So this is the Likkert's new management pattern or linking pin diagram, where each triangle represents a group, where we can see this, you can consider the larger triangle as chief of the organization. He has subordinates, these three subordinates, the smaller triangle which are there overlapping with this larger triangle. So these subordinates also have again the subordinates. What it means is, he is having three subordinates, for them he will be the chief, and these subordinates will be chief for the subordinates which are in the next level, and thereby there is a hierarchy maintained, but the chief of the organization as well as the different departmental heads will be interlinked as shown by the arrows in the decision making process. In other way, we can say that we have done an overlapping of grouping, where each group will be having its own responsibility and better coordination so as to achieve the task, and it can act as a decision making committee where head as well as subordinates are involved in the decision making process. So that is the idea of a linking pin diagram. Okay. Now the next topic we have is the different types of committees. There are two different ways we can define the committees. The first way is, the committees can be classified as advisory committees and executive committees. The second type of committees we can classify as the permanent committees and the ad hoc committees. Permanent committees are also called as the standoff committees or standing committees. So committees can be classified as advisory committees, or you can say the another kind is executive committees. And the next type we can have is standing committees, and ad hoc committees. So these are the classification of committees, where you can see the first one is advisory committees and executive committees. Let us discuss these committees in detail first, and then we will move on to the standing and ad hoc committees. Okay. So advisory committees means the committees which are going to have the authority of advising. Here the role is recommendations or advice. And in this committee only the employees or staff or authority. In the advisory committees, employees or staff are the authority, and the role is restricted up to giving recommendations, or you can say advices in some decision making process. That is the role. And what kind of examples you may get here? The examples might be financial committee, you can have works committee, sales committee, etc. So these kind of committees where only advice is required, no decision making or implementation is possible, that kind of committees are called as advisory committees. When it comes to executive committees, here the committees will be going to decide and implement on the issues. And also here employees or staff is not the authority. Here the authority is the management or the top level executives. Management or executives are the authority. Function is, as I have told, function is to make decisions and implement them. Also, the examples here we can say the board of directors. Board of directors, they comes under executive committees. Also you can say another example as the college admission committee, where the fixed people will be there, so they will look after the college admissions and decision will be made by the executives itself. So this is about the committees of advisory type and executive type. Next we will move on to the standing and ad hoc. Standing committees are also known as the permanent committees. Permanent committees will be set up for recurring problems or recurring issues. Okay, and when it comes to ad hoc committees, they are set up for the temporary issues to be solved. Once the issue is solved, these committees will be dissolved, whereas the standing committees will be always there in the organization. Again, the example might be the financial or the sales committees, which will be there always. When it comes to ad hoc committees, some committee which is set for sports events in the college. Once the sports events over, that committee will be dissolved. Next year again, next committee will come up. So here the main requirement is permanent in nature. It should be temporary. And in standing committees, you decide based on the position and title of the executive or the person, to lead. Standing committees are led by the people based on position and their title. No experience or the knowledge is required here in the standing committees. So it is a top level activity, you can say. When it comes to ad hoc, here the experience and technically sound members will be included for different aspects of the organization. Different committees will be set, they will be specialized in their area. So that is the nature of temporary or ad hoc committees. So that's all about the different types of committees. Now let us understand what are the advantages and disadvantages of committees. The first advantage we can list out is committees consists of department heads. Second one is pooling of knowledge and experience. It allows participation in decision making processes. And committees are the excellent means of communicating ideas, contribute to the training and development of members. So these are the advantages of committees. The first one is committees consists of department heads. Since there are different departments heads will be involved in the committees. They will know how the different department works and the problems associated with each and every department, and thereby they can come to a proper conclusion in different aspects of the organization. In that way it helps in coordination between different departments because different department heads are involved. After that, pooling of knowledge and experience. Here, as many people are involved in decision making in the committees, people of different background will be there and their knowledge and experience will be shared, and thereby pooling of knowledge and experience will happen and it will be advantageous to the organization. Next is the participation in decision making process. Since we have different heads and different people with different background are involved, they all are going to participate in the decision making process. When they participate in the decision making process, the belongingness to the organization comes and the effectiveness of working will be more. That's why this will be advantages for organization. Next we have is excellent means of communicating ideas. Since different people come up with different ideas and they will put their ideas in front of committee, and if it is good then it will be accepted and the problem or issue will be solved. So it is excellent means of communicating ideas. And then we have, it contributes to the training and development of members. So as the committees will have more number of people, they will be in a way training or getting developed in the process of the committee discussions or the meetings. Okay, in that way the committees are very helpful for the growth of an organization. Okay, so these are the advantages of committees. Now let us look at the disadvantages of committees. Okay. You can call these as weakness of committees also, weaknesses. Okay. So the first weakness is, it is a popular saying that committees keep minutes and waste hours. That is, sometimes committees will have a meeting of minutes and then it will be waste of hours. That is the first disadvantage or weakness of committees. Next we have is, committees is the expensive means of administration. Since committees form means different people has to come, they sit together, they work on daily basis, their expenses go on increasing in terms of different requirements of the committees. So it is the expensive means of administration. Next disadvantage is, in case of wrong decisions. In case of wrong decisions, what happens is, you cannot blame anyone. You cannot blame a single or individual member of the committee, because it is a group decision, everyone has agreed and taken. So there will be no responsibility on individual when the decision goes wrong. Okay, that is the main disadvantage of a committee. Next is, departments may compromise. Sometimes it happens also such that the other department will be having a severe problem, or the priority of solving some problem of the other department becomes more important, and the problem of the one who wants to solve may compromise with the situation. So that is the weakness of committee. And next we have is, chairman of the committee may influence other members. This is also possible, correct? So when chairman is there, he will be having higher authority, and other members will be easily get influenced by his viewpoints, and decision will be taken in favor of the chairman. So that is also a weakness of the committees. That's all for today, that we have discussed about the departmentalization, committees and different types of committees, advantages and disadvantages or weaknesses of committees. In the next session, we will discuss about the authority, delegation and centralization and decentralization of authority. After that, we will move on to the staffing of organization.
Thank you.